to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Cause. Yeah. A little bit like somebody else I know. Yeah, oh my gosh, it just grates on my nerves so badly. Yes. Yes. Sorry, how are you?
Scout. Hi there.
All right, calling to order Economic Development Committee meeting January 24th. And we'll start with roll call. Alicia Neth. Here. Adam Royds.
Here.
Steve Langley.
Here.
John Wallace.
Here.
Carol Noker. Here. Erica Winston.
Here.
Dan Hartman.
Here.
And Pat Luce.
Here.
And Sonny Kreitz is absent with prior notice. All right, does anyone want to make a motion to approve the October minutes? That was our last meeting.
So moved.
Second,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And then reports. First, we have Chamber of Commerce report.
Okay. New members since our last meeting, McBee's Coffee and Car Wash, and they are now open if you haven't been by yet. Lamar Advertising of Kansas City, CB DeFarcus Enterprises LLC, Kelly Kabilski from Missouri, Winscott Works, Baptist Home of Smithville, that's the old nursing home. They're hoping to open up soon. Big Toy Graphics, GFL Environmental Inc., Smithville Bible Church, High Tide Properties LLC, and Super 8. We've partnered with other chambers of commerce from Liberty, Excelsior Springs, Gladstone, and Kearney. And we're having a multi-chamber coffee on February 6th. It's from 8 to 9:30 and it's at the Gladstone Community Center. You do need to register for that event, so if you want the link, just let me know. Our next Rise and Shine for the Smithville Chamber is February 7th from 7:30 to 9. It's at 100 West Church Street, sponsored by Agent Joe and Associates. We have our third annual Fat Tuesday Crawfish Boil at the American Legion on February 13th from 5 to 7. Tickets are now on sale. Our next luncheon is February 14th. We should have our 2024 printed directories in by then, and that is sponsored by Agent Joe and Associates. The last event coming up quickly is the Community Awards Banquet. We partner with the Smithville Legacy Fund. That is February 29th at 6 p.m. out at White Iron Ridge. There's 10 categories recognizing our community members and local businesses. So we're super excited and votes have been closed. So nominations will be coming out. As part of our services provided in our MOU agreement with the city, we've started making our business retention visits with Cynthia and Gina. We plan on scheduling those once a month with different businesses around town. So if you know anybody that wants to have that visit, have them get a hold of me. Otherwise, we have a list of some that we would like to visit. So we've already kind of got that going. So we're excited. So we're visiting different businesses in town, asking them if they're having any difficulties, if there's anything we can help them with, kind of what their outlook is for the next year, things like that. Yeah.
And we hope to bring back the emerging themes. We just had our first one, so after we have more, we would bring those kind of results to the EDC to review as well.
And that's all I've got.
All right, and then school district report.
I'll make this short and sweet. I did ask Dr. Moss if he had any specific information to report and only just said that to let you know that once this terrible weather clears, transportation facility is on schedule and that will continue as it should. Hopefully this weather moves out. I am working on the Green Tie Affair event that's scheduled for March 14th. So I'm looking for volunteers for that. Really just individuals that want to sit on a panel and or individual interviews. We do those as well and hear students' pitches. I think this year, hopefully we can catch up with, again, the snow days. But this year, I feel like our students are going to be even more invested in what they're doing. We do have a t-shirt screen print business, t-shirt and sweatshirt screen print business with our project management group. And some of our students are going to also be designing some products as part of that service as well. So I'm excited for it. We are currently working on, our broadcast class is working on a client connected project in conjunction with the chamber, one of the members. We've just started, actually, I was the very first interview. So we're going to be sharing some interviews with different chamber members about their career journey and so forth as a service to the chamber and to those businesses. And again, our students will earn that market value asset through that process as well. Getting ready to do some marketing audits with a couple of different local businesses. We have other ongoing projects as well. But this one just came up and something I thought might be something to mention here. Our Spanish teacher would love to find opportunities to bring any individuals that are bilingual or that are using different languages in their workplace and those experiences into the classroom, just even as a classroom speaker, just to come in and share about how that relates to their work. And then at some point in time, we would like to put together a client connector project and working with a business. But right now, just to start wanting to identify any businesses that might have the opportunity for us to kind of have them come in and talk about that.
Awesome.
Right. And Madam Chairwoman's report.
Okay, I just have a few things. Smithville Main Street District met last Monday and discussed our events for the year, kind of where we want to focus, all of that good stuff. We are not going to host the Spring Wine Walk this year. We're kind of shifting the early part of the year's focus to more family-friendly events. But we are going to host the citywide garage sale as we did last year. The date is April 27th. And once it's a bit closer, we will create an event page and all of that for shopping information and advertising, kind of like we did in the past. July 27th, we have Family Olympics Day, kind of a Summer Olympics theme event that we want to do. We're going to team up with Parks and Rec for that. So we'll have more info to come. And then we will team up with the chamber again on September 28th for Junkville. We'll have some other things added to it. We just haven't quite hammered those out yet. And we're still working on a date for the winter wine walk and Christmas market, holiday market, sorry. Other than that, I just had a couple of reminders since we have so many new members and it's come up a lot lately with different businesses in town, that EDC doesn't get involved in private business matters, so we can't reach out to private citizens and developers for any updates on their transactions. We just have to go with what the city knows as far as licenses and things like that. And also for new agenda items, they can be discussed at during the new business portion of this meeting, or you can email them to Gina and myself prior to the agenda being posted, which is usually about a week in advance. So, and that's all I have.
Clarification on the new business. So does it need to, we have a new business item, does it need to go to Gina and be in the minutes or on the agenda before we can talk about it?
No, so you'd bring up, so say you would want to talk about something at the next meeting, that would just be you stating that. So then it could be on the agenda for next time or a future meeting, so then it can be discussed. So you would just say, this is what,
can't discuss it when,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, so you just mentioned this
That's
is
what I thought.
a future agenda topic I'd like to discuss. So then at a future meeting, that would be on the agenda.
So elaborate if you can, Alicia, on the first point you made of the last two about not talking to private businesses.
Do you have an
So some
example?
of them, if a business say closes and you want to know specifics about what happened and you want to discuss it at the EDC, typically the city does not know all of those details. So that's just something that would be a private business matter that we wouldn't be able to talk about at the EDC, but there is potentially like larger themes if we're seeing trends of like, okay, we've seen 3 businesses close in the last 6 months, like what's going on? What is the market looking like? We're looking at those larger instances than just an individual business, if that makes
think-
sense.
I thank you for that. I think more in terms of prospective businesses, not businesses closed. So just talking to prospective businesses fall into that same category.
So if you're talking to someone of, hey, this is a business we'd like to attract to the area, that would be more of a general update. Unless it's just someone is already in the development stage, we don't want to
Right.
interject into that.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
pre anything. So we
Right,
can talk to businesses about that,
yes.
prospective businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's part of the attraction role of the EDC of, we see a need in XYZ area. So we're gonna reach out to these businesses and get them in contact with the right people at the city.
That's what I thought, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to clarify.
Mhm.
That's Jack.
Right.
Hendricks.
Yes, Jack Hendricks, the development director.
Not Jack's.
I had a question for Erica. I just thought, you mentioned September, so is there a barbecue bash in September this year? September.
28th
so
is what I
it's-
had.
All right,
You want to sign up for judge again?
well, I do, but I never can get the meat I want. So I think you gotta, there's a standing crew that does ribs. I don't know how they break in. I don't have enough seniority apparently. Pulled pork would be good.
So that's all I have for chairwoman's report. We'll end on pulled pork.
Okay. All right, and for the staff report, like Erica mentioned, we do have an MOU. The city has an MOU with the chamber to help us with some of future events. We've partnered to make a Missouri Department of Economic Development event. If you remember, they kind of have provided feedback about the programs they have at the state level. So we are going to host an event at the library for chamber members to attend, and there would be a provided lunch. So we are going to be sending a sign-up list as there's going to be a small fee associated with that event. Replica at a past EDC, and that event is on March 22nd. I don't know if I mentioned that. Noon? Yeah, it'll be at noon. And I'll send, once we make a flyer, I'll send that to this group and it'll also go out in the chamber network.
Did you say 22nd or 27th? I'm sorry.
22nd,
22nd.
March 22nd. Yeah,
That's a Friday.
yes. Yeah. And then at a past meeting, I overviewed Replica, which is the software that shows sales tax data, trend data for trips to Smithville and trips out of Smithville and where people are going. I talked with Pat Luce a few months ago. She was interested in reviewing kind of the categories of businesses that we're losing revenue to, of like, okay, where are people going to spend their money if they're not shopping in Smithville? So I'm happy to bring that information forward to the EDC to review, and as well as event data. We have a lot of events downtown, so we'd like to start reviewing the trends after we see those events. If there's any other types of data you would like to see, I'm happy to bring that forward. So if you think of anything, feel free to send me an email and we can have that as a future agenda item. And then just a staffing update. We are excited to announce that Rick Welch will be starting on February 5th as our new finance director. He's currently in the role of Deputy Finance Director for the city of Salina, Kansas. So he has 25 years of finance experience. So we're very excited to bring him on. I've been currently filling the role of acting finance director. So we've been in the middle of our migration, which means some of my reporting processes have been delayed, like the quarterly update I provide to you all. So I can bring that towards our next meeting. I did want to ask if you find those quarterly updates helpful. So it typically has our sales tax data, use tax, business licenses, permitting data. So if there's something else you would like to see on a quarterly basis, feel free to let me know. We also include special event information. So I can always bulk up that quarterly update if there's something else you'd like to see in the future. So we do have completed projects. It's just not as detailed of like, say someone's building a spec home and someone isn't moving in. We don't have that type of data.
Gina, I think it's helpful for sure to have that data. I don't know how hard it would be to just use last year's numbers so we can kind of compare.
Yeah, so typically I do have the last year's quarter compared, so you can see that comparison.
No, very, very helpful. So
Okay,
thank you for
great.
continuing that.
And then I did want to highlight some upcoming Board of Aldermen agenda items. At the February 6th work session, beginning at 6 o'clock, Jack Hendricks will be discussing the South Overlay District project. So if you can recall, he came to the EDC at a prior meeting to discuss this. This is going to initiate the RFQ process. We haven't issued an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications for people to submit their bid proposals. So I just wanted to highlight that if you'd like to tune into that conversation that the board has. And then we will be discussing downtown parades at the March 29th work session. We haven't set a time for that yet. And included in the new budget is the fabrication and installation of the downtown signage. So this was part of our wayfinding signage and design guidelines that was completed last year. So I did want to let you know that project is moving forward and hopefully we'll have that out to bid in the spring for the installation of that project. And I included the pictures in my staff report.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Do you have a question on that?
No, I said, thank
Okay,
you. That's
okay,
awesome. I'm
okay.
excited about those signs.
Yes. And then that is all I have. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, we can move on to the next agenda item.
Don't have any questions. Adam, did you want to talk about yeah. It's already.
Yeah, we just wanted to throw out here that we had our Main Street meeting and together as a board, we looked at our budget and how much money we have and we voted and agreed that if the city agrees to let us do a public art project there, that Main Street would pay for it. So we have the funds, so no taxpayer money needed. So really all we just need from the city is like approval to do a mural on the one side. So we don't need to ask for any budgeting or whatever. We've got the money covered.
Okay.
So really this group and the city would really just be about the design, the like context of the design, the theme, that type of stuff. Since it is public, we want to make sure that everybody's comfortable and that it's, we're all on the same page. I assume, no one's looking to rock any boats. We just want something nice to look at in the bathroom. So I think we could start moving forward with having discussions here about what type of themes we want. We want to keep it non-political, community oriented, that type of stuff. And then we would have to gather that together before we put out a call for artists. So that way the artist knows what we're looking for so that they don't show up with stuff that we're like, whoa, what's going on here? This is a little strange. But basically the big thing is the money part of it is Main Street's going to cover it. So that'll Smithville Main Street District LLC. Just-
Main Street.
Yes, Smithville Main Street District.
That allowed to move forward a little faster then, so we don't have to hit a budget cycle?
I imagine not having to ask for any money is a nice, it'll make it easier, I do believe. Because Dan's smiling.
And I'm gonna throw this out there just as a thought. This would be a fantastic opportunity to partner with the district and some art students or several groups of art students, whether you do a competition for designs or what have you. Again, that's part of that community piece. So I'm not saying that's what we have to do, but would certainly like to be considered.
I definitely think they should be in the mix, but I think we'll have to reach out to Missouri Extension because I think he made a big deal about paying. So I think if we open it, we're gonna have some yeah, like if they do it, they're gonna get money. So it's like if the students want to throw their hat in the ring, because this is gonna be like a professional endeavor, because that's what he was saying that he kind of, what was his name again?
GK
Yeah,
Callahan.
he kind of weaned us away from the volunteer aspect of it. And he wanted us to like make sure we're paying artists. But if you,
Help with the design and then an actual artist.
well, you know what, that could come into the second thing that we're talking. So we also talked about possibly doing a concurring art project that Main Street would pay for, doing like a canvas. That might be something because again, we'd need permission from the city because we'd like to let anyone who's having an event hang it from the gazebo. That's the idea, is the gazebo is kind of like just, it's pretty with the lights.
Mhm.
But we figured we could commission the art for like a nice canvas tarp. Something like, Smithville, welcome to Smithville, Smithville Main Street, probably simple. And then we would pay for that, do the project management on it too. And then any group in Smithville that wants to use that tarp could just ask, and then we would just provide it. And so every event, whether it's Hot Summer Nights or Lake Fest, if they wanted the tarp,
Banner.
the banner tarp, but yeah, I know banner tarp, the banner, they would just come and meet with us and then we would just provide it and then pick it up after, fold it up and store it for safekeeping. So that was another thing that came up that we would probably cover that cost as well. That I think would probably be a better fit for the students, I think, because it wouldn't be as much of a design. It would be more us telling them, like,
Yeah.
this is what we
And
want.
honestly, I'll disagree. We
Okay.
want students to go through that critical thinking process. We want to go through that pain. We want them to work back and forth with a client.
Okay.
So not
they
that
could
that
definitely
doesn't
submit.
qualify, but I would
Yeah.
say the other would most definitely also be something that if we could make the timelines work, that's the challenge with the
Okay.
school district, is just meeting the timelines and if it's when it's fits into the schedule of that class. So
Yeah.
just to consider.
So I
it.
think when we do the call for artists, like they should throw their hat in the ring. Like, I think that's the learning experience, is like, this is what it's like if you want to be a commissioned artist. Like, not everybody's just gonna give you the volunteer project, like throw your hat in the ring, come up here
Sure.
and tell us why you think your design should be the one. And then they're gonna get paid. So that's the thing, is we're gonna pay the artists.
Yeah, or if even there's like a mentorship component we could add into with the school district, just so then they're getting that experience. And
If they want to see the process.
right, I did want to mention another location is at Heritage Park. That mural needs to be repainted. So that would also be another,
On the bathroom at Heritage Park where the ball glove is.
yeah, where
painted.
the ball glove is. That's another opportunity for a mural location. Included in the agenda, based on our discussion that we had back in October, I did draft something to go to the board. So based on what the EDC desires to move forward with, I can definitely change this as it was a draft. I basically just gave a background of how this came about, the proposed downtown mural proposal, and then the location, and then the long-term public art. So if this is for the phased approach, if we want to change anything about Main Street, Smithville Main Street District versus the EDC, that would need to be cleaned up before I send this to the board. Or if this is even something we want to add to the EDC policy. This was just working off of our last discussion. So if we need to change this, just let me know. I just went ahead and drafted this, and it included the after implementation steps, just so we kept the ball rolling on this.
Yeah, I think it should stay draft until we know what we're doing. I mean, 'cause
Right.
really, this is all new.
Right.
I'd be hesitant to put anything like as a policy until we actually go through the process and have a chance to find out what went right, what went wrong, and do our after action reviews. And then we could try to formalize it. And then we would know exactly the steps we need to take moving forward, like if we wanted to do the bathroom at Heritage next or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd say just keep it in draft.
Question on the mural in the restroom. What's the life expectancy of something like that? How long will it last?
We got to get Missouri Extension back in, I think.
It depends on the medium you use.
Yeah.
I mean, the quality of materials makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
something
if
we
you-
would talk to GK and ask him.
Yeah, and to find out if there's any type of varnish or enamel, maybe coating that goes over it, that can like seal it in like you would with like a driveway, you know, you gotta
Mhm.
seal your concrete. So I don't know if that would be something too, like
Yeah.
we wanna do a sealant maybe on it, so,
You just wouldn't want it to last too long and it gets faded and
yeah, no,
everybody says we're tired of looking at this and,
no time for a new project.
well, the reverse of that is go back to the school idea. Why couldn't the school do something like this every year and change the design
It could.
and, you know, or however we do that process? Be a great ongoing school project.
We'll
That's a
talk
thought,
to
yeah.
GK and see what he says.
So next steps, is this something we would want to bring back GK Callahan from the extension, or do we need to kind of hammer out who's doing what and have like a revised plan?
I mean, I think we should, before we move forward on anything, we need a vote, right? Because right now, technically, we're not allowed to do anything, right? There needs to be something writing that says that is okay, correct? Like there needs to be some sort of vote, I imagine.
Not necessarily. It's just more of like next steps of, originally you guys voted that you were ready to take this proposal to the board for review, and this was the location. Now it just sounds like it's changing because now the funding would be coming from Smithville Main Street rather than city funds.
Yeah.
So that kind of takes out an element of the last proposal.
Yeah, I think just to move forward, we just want to know that it's supported. You know what I mean? Like that. 'Cause I'm not interested in doing like a lot of work just to have it turn around and be like, nah.
Yeah.
You know, we're not interested.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think
So
there
I feel
needs,
like the board's not gonna wanna vote on it if
Right.
they don't know all of our details first.
right. I don't think there needs to be a formal vote. I think it just there needs to be a group consensus on what the next steps is and who's doing what.
I would say the next step would be to reach back out to Missouri, and we need some templates and guidance on how to do a proper call for artists.
Okay.
Where do we promote it? Where do we go? Do you go to, do you post it online? Do you put it in art newspapers, if there's art newspapers or magazines?
And
What
again,
type of
who would
request for
be, so
proposals
would the
do you need?
EDC be managing this or would Main Street be managing this? So those are the kind of details that,
Did this
I think
switch from an
prior we talked-
EDC project to a Smithville Main Street District project?
right, that's what
Prior
I'm
we
getting
talked
at.
About turning it over to Smithville Main Street District, I thought.
Well, like subcontracting for project management, like, and then EDC would be the decision makers. But if EDC wants to take a more active role, that's why we figured we'd let the Main Street do the project management aspect, the scheduling, the coordination, and then when there's a decision to be made, the EDC would make it. But it doesn't have to be.
Was that your understanding? I'm trying to remember.
So I think, sorry if I'm not being clear. So originally the EDC was making the recommendation to the board of this is the project, this is the scope, because we were asking for funding from the city. Versus now, it sounds like it's shifting where the funding is coming from Main Street. So would it be Smithville Main Street District coming to the EDC saying, this is what we would like to do, here's our process? So really that's taking it out of the EDC for Smithville Main Street District to work on, and then bringing the updates to the EDC.
I think that makes more sense to cut out the middleman. Not that I don't want our group to handle it, but I feel like if it's more of a Main Street focused project.
Yeah, I don't think EDC's role is project management myself.
I concur.
What's that?
I don't think EDC's roles is in project
Yeah, that's
management.
why we figured we just let Main Street handle most of it and then just bring it back here for any type of decisions and updates,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
And the decision for the, like the call to artists, like the Main Street would put it together and then the artists would come here. Like they would come here to do their presentations and to, you know, give their pitch for why their design is the best one. And then the EDC decides that, then whatever the EDC decides, then Main Street will just execute it.
Is that how you see it, Gina? I'm still struggling with
Yeah.
even that piece of it. If the Main Street District is running the project, why would the EDC be the one to decide which artist is doing it?
Because the EDC is the official public body and it's a public art. So you would want citizen, like the citizen feedback. Like if people wanted to show up at the meeting, you know, that's why I think, because Main Street's not a public group.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to let people into the nonprofit meeting.
I don't think that would stop any of the community involvement. I just think would be confusing from the standpoint of what the EDC's role is if Main Street is the one has the budget, who's managing the project versus maybe having a collaborative of EDC input when the community gets involved at that stage. I think that makes sense, but I don't think it would live with the EDC unless it was funded by the city.
Gina, could we reach out to GK and just say, hey, from the last time it was going to be kind of an EDC driven project now.
Right.
And just get his opinion on it because
Mhm.
one, he has experience. And two, we don't want to lose that funding source, whether it be grants, you know, or I guess the template, if you will, of how we go about this, right? They've done this many, many times in communities. So, I mean,
Yeah.
just kind of see what he recommends. And then I think we just make a decision, you know, based on that. If he says no, keep it within the EDC, we keep it. If not,
So is your thought there, Dan, that maybe the funding that they have available would have to flow through
well,
a city
if
entity.
for future art projects, I mean, you know, Smithfield, Missouri Main Street, right? I mean, is saying we're going to fund initially, but as we continue this over the years, I'd sure like to have an ability to reach out to them. And I think
Yeah, I can reach out to GK about the new process that was proposed, and then any feedback on that for what the role of the EDC should be. I mean,
So
Right.
we need somebody to come in and provide us with, you know, I like paperwork. You know, like if they have packets of like, oh, this is what this is how they did it, spreadsheets, packets, like I think that's where we're at right now is we need to find like how.
Like a workflow?
Whatever other communities have used, you know, I mean, you've worked in government, you know how it works. Like,
Right.
you don't reinvent the wheel if a community has already done it, you just kind of borrow it and make it your own.
right, and they did partner with Parkville's Main Street. The only difference was they were getting funding from the city. So that was kind of the merged process of the EDC and the city being involved. So, yep, I can reach out to him for feedback and more information.
Do you want to handle this one or do you want me to? I don't care. The last new opportunities for marketing.
Figured we would hand it over to Pat.
That
She
sounds
reached
good.
out about this agenda item. Yep.
Well, I've got some stats that I'm going to throw out there. We know that 70% of our sales tax comes from people outside the area, and I think that's just really incredible. We also know that approximately we get 1.2 million visitors a year here. But what's interesting to note is the people that come here camping don't know of the great events going on downtown. Lake Fest, whatever is happening every weekend downtown. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity for us to try to capture that list of who's coming and when they're coming and pair communications with them about what is happening downtown that weekend to drive them literally and physically from their campsites. Interesting campsite number. We have 833 campsites at the 3 campgrounds surrounding the lake. That's a huge market for us. And for them not to know what's going on downtown really would be great to change and flip that so that they did know. Now, in order to do that, we would have to get our hands or have access to the county parks, I would assume that runs all of these, to be able to partner with us on that. But my thought and idea was that if they could do it or give us the information about when these people are coming, when they're staying, because all of their reservations are done online. So digital marketing is just right there to let them know, welcome to Lake Smithville. While you're here, there's some exciting things downtown. Come down and have a cold drink, a sandwich. There's a room of jumping equipment outside for the kids to play on or whatever is going on to try to get people to come here. And I have personally met people that are staying here on vacationing here 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And they'll say, well, we stumbled downtown into steak night at Humphreys. What else is going on? So I think we're missing a great opportunity for our, not only our businesses downtown, but to support the special events by not letting these campers know what's happening. And any thoughts, or everyone's kind of nodding their
Yeah,
head?
it's
clicking,
not,
yeah.
it's something that when I was with the chamber and when we worked with the
Main
Main
Street,
Street, it's
mhm.
something that we've talked about and worked on for a long time. How do we share that information?
Mhm.
Right? That's a big challenge, and when, and that's, we don't have control over that, right? And how to get them that information. We thought about putting, we've
Their
put
tag
together
for the
different,
day,
right,
yep.
their tag, their parking
Mhm.
tag, and partnering with them to share
Mhm.
dates on
For
that.
a
There are a
QR
lot of
code
different
even.
pieces, right? There are a lot of different pieces that make it difficult, but trying to remember where we ended up even on that parking tag. Were we struggling to kind of get agreement that we could do that, or when we could do that?
Yes.
I know the
Printing cost, I want to say too, because you have to print on both sides, but I mean, I feel like that's
right. And I agree with you, a digital, for them, a way for them to find that information digitally, right? We would need to be able to determine who do we contact for that and how could we manage to,
Mhm.
because we're not the only ones, I'm sure, that would like access to be able to give them, right? To
Mhm.
have that window of
Mhm.
sharing information.
Should we bring this up to the Clay County EDC? Because I mean, it seems like this would be right under the Clay County EDC kind of wheelhouse.
Erica, you've connected with Clay County's tourist, and they've given us, my understanding, do you want to talk about just a little bit of it? You have the ability, I don't know if you have the ability to push poll, meaning you have the ability to log in and see calendar events. Is that correct? Can you tell us, the EDC, a little bit about that?
So, Clay County has Visit Clay County website. I think it's just visitclay.com. And I do have access so that we can put our events on there, our big events and things that we would want people to come in town for. So I'm able to put that stuff on there. It's just a matter of people have to let us know details and get us information so that we can do that.
Well, there needs to be something when they check in at the park that's going to direct them to that website. Otherwise,
Right.
it's a moot point. So like
I'll-
Pat was saying, if they could have some sort of like, when they reserve online, they get something from us, which is probably considered spam and they probably wouldn't want to do that. But
I don't
so-
know, has anyone approached the Clay County Parks about partnering with us, and what
It's
kind of
been a
response do you
while.
have?
I'm gonna say I can reach out to Megan and see if she
Mhm.
has a connection with the
Yeah.
parks and see.
It's been a while.
There's a
since
way
And
we
to do
had
Matt
the
Ditton, our
conversation.
Parks director, he will have a contact.
he would
too.
have a good, yeah, more.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it may not be unnecessarily like a Clay County visitors as more as like the Clay County parks. I'm guessing that's a little bit of a different point of contact, no?
It would be a little bit of a different contact, but I think they probably would work together in
That-
that aspect.
Okay.
Has anyone seen what the reservation confirmation emails look like? I've never camped there. Like, that seems like it would be an easy like thing to ask if you could
Pull up,
put a link on
visit
the
Clay
reservation to
mo.com
visit
on
Clay
your
County.
computer.
And then that would let them, when they get their reservation link, they could click on
If
that and
this
see the
visit
events.
Clay
Would it
mo-
make sense for us to start with Smith's Fork? Right? Because we have access to that, the ability to work, closely, obviously. since
There's
that's a city
85
run.
spots there.
Right,
Go
right.
to-
But that would be a good
It's
starting
com-
point, I would think.
Maybe a starting point.
Yeah.
And see if
And
we can
Clay
get the
County,
kinks out.
if we talk to
That's
Clay
where
County Parks about
reservations
not
is.
just promoting Smithville though, but promoting the whole county, I would assume that they would welcome that.
So I think that's where you would want to push, would be on the reservation confirmation email.
Right, and that would be the thing, is we would partner with them on the reservation confirmation email to let them know what's going on, if there's any way that we could, they could do another email just before a week before those people arrive, or a few days before they arrive, as a second touch point, because they're probably gonna throw the first one away.
Go to
My feeling is if we give them something when they check in at the park, that piece of paper is gonna go in the trash, more than likely.
I don't know, I feel like an email is gonna come across, or a confirmation email, I'm not gonna look at that. If you hand me something when I get there, I'm more likely to look at that. I'll just be honest with my personal experience.
And if it's on the other side of the thing that they have to hang in their front window, they've got to hang that in the mirror with the date that they checked in or whatever it is. If it's on the back side of that, they're gonna see it because it's going to be right in front of their face
Mhm.
as they're driving in.
Right, and when you're there, where are we gonna eat dinner? Well, here's a QR code that shows me all of the restaurants
Mhm.
downtown. Let's look at that.
Do they hand out site maps at these campsites? Cause like I go to a lot of private campsites, like KOAs and stuff like that. And when you check in, they give you like you get a little pamphlet that has the map. Here's your cabin or site, and then it has, this is the pool, this is the trail. Do they
don't-
do that now? Probably not.
I don't
huh?
remember. It's been a long time since I've done any of the
'Cause
bigger
people
ones.
hold those, and in that brochure, I think is where you could
Mhm.
get them. Like you put the map on there as kind of like, oh, here's your little map, and then open it up and it's events.
Dan, what did
know.
you all pull up over there?
Yes, let me share my.
Yeah, so folks can see. So this is the Clayco, visit Clayco or visit claymo.com. Things to do, activities in Clay County shop. You'll do that and then.
So we went to the events, specifically like in Smithville. So it seems
Yeah.
like they have kind of the ones that happen annually with those dates kind of plugged in.
And I think, again, Erica, you have the ability to log in and put these events on. So one of the thoughts is having a QR code at these campsites to maybe where it leads right to the things to do in Clay. Because if you notice the header up there, it says our community Smithville. So because you don't want them, I mean, when it gets clunky and you have to do more than 2 or 3 clicks, people abandon it. So if we could get them somehow to go right to the activities calendar, and maybe we have different QR codes for shop and food or whatever the case may be, so they can just hit that on their phone or iPad or just thoughts.
I want to try to connect a dot that can't connect, but what's the school doing on the broadcast? You said there's a broadcast group forming at school, has formed. What are they doing?
Oh, gosh, no, there's broadcast journalism class, and they're working on a client project and doing interviews with certain chamber members.
What if
So
they had a low power FM station set up?
they do actually have a live radio station currently.
How far does it broadcast? Does it cover the whole lake?
A square
Oh,
mile,
I'm,
I
sh-
thought they
I,
said
yeah,
at
I'm
the
not
school
even
board
sure,
meeting.
but,
Why couldn't we promote that station, have it broadcast enough to have a loop on a loop on events going on in Smithville and things going on?
So I was at the school board meeting that we just had. Were you there yet?
did not.
So they are talking about the new radio station. I don't think they're at the point where they're ready to do ads,
No.
but that
Yeah.
is something that they foresee in the future. They just didn't talk like it was.
and this
Immediate.
is internet radio, right?
Mhm.
So my other.
They'd have to
piece-
know to go there.
Yeah, right. And my other pieces, I mean, this is sad. I don't even listen to radio anymore. I put plug my Bluetooth in on my car. So right? We're gonna miss a good chunk of,
Camping, I think, is
people.
still a place where there is a spot for the
I
FM.
think so. I think if you promoted, we had a lake news.
If it's internet.
again, this is
That's-
internet radio, yeah.
If it's an internet.
It's
if a
internet
loop,
radio.
They're not showing up on FM stations.
Yeah, and then again, you're still only capturing whoever's listening to that specific genre or that specific station. I honestly, the one thing that's consistent, they have to have that tag.
That's
They
what I
have to have
think,
that
like the
hanger and
tag.
it stays in their car, their vehicle that whole
Because
time. I
I'm
feel like that is where our sweet spot is.
I'm suggesting doing both. Have the tag, promote the radio station, and have a loop going on every weekend. That loop gets
Yeah.
updated
Well,
on
I'm
current events.
absolutely, we would want to promote it for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it probably can't be internet radio.
Well, I mean, they can still pull up the internet radio.
Just
We're
like
not there yet,
365 or
but
whatever.
absolutely for future.
Let's
It's
figure out
something
how
to
to
think
fund a
about.
low power FM radio station for them to. No, I'm serious.
In my mind, I'm not against doing something on the confirmation email, but I will be honest, if I book a rental car or anything and I get a confirmation email, I look at it and make sure my dates match and then I save it. I don't scroll down and see anything else that's on there. Maybe that's just me, but I do think the paper, if you have it on the other side, you're hanging a tag that one side has to be facing out. So you know that the other side would be something that the person driving their car. And this isn't even just for camping. This is for anyone. You know, we could see about getting them on every single tag. So you have people coming to the marina, you have people coming to play at a playground or to fish or whatever. As soon as they're going past the little gate where you have to pay, if we could get something on every one of those cards, that would be awesome. So I don't know if we want to talk to Matt first and go through his point of contact would probably be and just see if it's possible and what we would need to do and make that our next steps.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Just so he has the aspect of how people come into the parks and everything like that too.
Okay.
I think we start with Smiths Fork and the reason that is because it's easier to get in and out of there. Where you're at one of these other campgrounds, you can certainly navigate, but it's a little bit a way around, but
Crow's Creek.
Well, and why not start and show that we can do it?
Yeah.
Get the process down and then
Absolutely.
then when we need to take it to Clay County Parks, we've got it down.
So if we focus on Smiths Fork first, and we don't need to go through Clay County Parks for that, right?
No, since we manage.
Since it's,
Yeah.
okay, so,
So just kind of reiterating, maybe a laminated poster of events with QR code on the door or showers at each campsite, so.
Yeah, I think there's ways we can post it at multiple places at the
Mhm.
campsites.
Because that would be protected by the weather.
Mhm.
And I am sure that someone within the school could figure out QR. I mean, again, I don't think it's hard. There's QR code designers and you
Minutes.
just point.
Oh, Canva has a QR code.
I was like,
Just
yeah,
create it real quick.
30
Parks and
seconds.
Rec could help us with
Yeah.
those materials.
It's gonna come on. We'd have to print, we would have to print the hangers, right?
So there would
that
be some, there
what's
would
the
be
cost
costs
per unit?
associated with it, right?
Yeah, and part
Right,
of
and
that,
I'm pretty certain at some point in time, we were in the process. And I don't know if that, I think the timing wasn't right. They'd already had to print them. We didn't have it ready. But yeah, I think it's a great place to start.
I agree. And it's, I mean,
Even if they've been printed for 2024, you can still get a sticker and put on the back of it.
Absolutely, you could.
It's really true.
Absolutely.
all right, so we still obviously need to check with Matt or whoever to make sure that that's feasible. And then I guess, what would we do after that? Would we come back and vote on definitely doing it or?
I think it would just be a decision on, for the QR code, what exactly you would want it to link to,
Mhm.
what to be included, if it's to or the specific Clay County website with Smithville events, we can do it that way. But just thinking about what exact information you want to share with the visitors.
Okay.
Yeah. And are we just sharing events or are we sharing
We share it.
restaurants, right? Shopping? And
Right, so that was
just
kind of
more
their
than just, right? So
landing page. I might have gone,
Go to,
where did I go?
learn more places stay, eat in Smithville or events. There's two different landing pages. Things, let's see, where one. Again, in our community of Smithville, selecting specifically Smithville.
I would want to make sure that that's kept up to date. And I know this is different staff because
Mhm, right.
previously it was not, and it wasn't always correct. So I would just, and I know you would know.
I was gonna say,
Erica would know.
from what I remember the last time I was on the website, the events that you were at is not the same events that I'm able to put. So there's
Yep.
another events page other than that one. And that one's kind of
What about a link to the
outdated.
chambers?
This one,
page?
the full event
the
calendar?
Chambers community calendar. I mean, yeah, that's the calendar that
Okay.
where I'm able to put stuff.
And it just from looking at the website, I think it would be tricky to get everything on the QR code because it looks like that they have broken it down in a way that's not feasible because they're like, oh, here's your events over here. Here's your entertainment. Here's your dining. You'd almost need 3 QR codes to get to the link. So I think you'd want to pick the best splash page.
Well, right. And you could say, here are your events. Are you hungry? Here's here's dining, here's shopping and other amenities, right? You could do it that way and that would be doable, I think. You wouldn't want more than that, but yeah.
Yeah, just like, I was just looking around. On events in Smithville, and it took us to the 3rd annual Fat Tuesday Crawfish Shrimp Boil. So I guess that's coming up February 13th as you spoke, so it's on there.
Mhm.
Good job, Erica.
Yeah. Or even it might be helpful if on the city's website, we made a landing page and then had all of the different links. So then we could just link it to, okay, you're interested in food, click this, and then it takes you to that page. You're interested in our chamber community calendar, click this link, takes it to the page. So then that can be more updated.
Mhm.
And then we don't have to worry about like things not being exactly what that person would need.
100%. I think that's perfect.
Yeah. And then the next question is, who manages that and keeps it up to date? Because that's a lot of work. So.
It would fall on me, so.
You're welcome.
So, and it's easy, once you set the links, then
Mhm.
it'll still be managed and it's one of those things that if something on the Clay County website is out of date, I can't really control that.
Mhm.
But at least we're trying to get the people to the information they're looking for.
Yep, absolutely. I think that'd be the easiest, most streamlined, I guess, way to do it. So.
Okay. We can jazz it up. We can try to make it, and we're supposed to be doing a RFQ later this spring for a website, new website. So potentially on who submits for that proposal, we'll have changes to our website. So that'll be exciting. Any other feedback for the marketing discussion? I'll talk with Matt and I may have him come to a future ADC meeting. So you can hear your feedback and kind of what you guys are looking for exactly.
Y'all good ideas. Yep.
And if you can do QR stickers, that's gonna reduce the price. Like if it's just stickers, like you can just take the sticker and attach it to like the hanger. That's a lot cheaper than if you have to print it. with
Double-sided printing.
Double-sided printing with the QR code on there.
Well, then you gotta pay for labor to put stickers on the hangers.
Bring them to our meetings. and
Yeah,
we'll
we'll just
sit
have a
here and do
meeting.
it.
We'll just be able
I'll
to.
do it.
do that.
Yeah. Client
I'll
connected
do
sticker
that.
project. Yeah, we'll all bring our kids that night and they
Yeah,
can.
that'd be a whole EDC meeting. We'll just do an assembly line.
do
there.
wanna
Need
ma-
to meet with the union, I'll do it for free.
We do want to make sure that it's sustainable and it's not something
Yeah.
that we start and 6 months later we've forgotten about it and it hasn't been
Oh,
continued
Carol, you're
because
too
of that.
practical.
Well, I'm just,
Yes.
But I do
Right?
think it's a good idea to start this year with Smith Fork and kind of get the kinks ironed out and then see how we can move it and get the information possibly from the county on the others. But it doesn't hurt to ask them now, then ask them again later,
Mhm,
how much information we can get and how they want to help.
Absolutely.
And when we do have large events, we can lean on this software that you're learning to kind of measure
Mhm.
things. It's always interesting it would be interesting to know, and I think Clay County probably has it because they're capturing the information when you're making reservations. Where are you coming from, right? What zip code, what distances? I mean, I'm sure there's some data that, I don't know if they'd share it or not share it. Depends on if
And
it's,
we can see the Clay County data for replica as well.
Well, and if you
Um,
created a QR code, you'd be able to see that data of who
Mhm.
particularly is using that actual code, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure for Canva, but I know there are softwares that you can track the amount of people who
Okay.
scan it.
Okay.
Well, and I know I've talked a little bit with Cynthia about possibly having an intern
Mm-hmm.
work with you
Yes.
to mine that data.
Yes.
So that might be something for next year to consider if I can
Mhm.
identify somebody who would be interested in doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that'd be a great project.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
All right.
We don't need to vote on anything, right? Since we just, okay, perfect. So then new business?
I only have one question. We have a Boy Scout with us here. I just wondered if he could share what he's doing. We either do it during the meeting or after the meeting. Would you be comfortable doing that? Can we do that now or you want to do it after the meeting?
Yeah. Do you want to come up to the microphone?
Thanks for being here, by the way. I'm an Eagle Scout myself and from a long time ago, but it's carried me through a long career. So you're sitting there and I thought, well, we ought to have you come up and speak a little bit. So tell us who you are and your rank and what you're working on.
My name is James Turner, and I'm working on this for 2 separate merit badges. One of them is communications, and I forgot what the other one is. And right now, my rank, I'm currently first class, but I'm really close to getting my star rank.
Okay, good for you. Yeah.
And,
So are you with the troop here in Smithville?
no, it's a troop in Liberty.
Okay. What's the troop number?
It's 1337.
Okay.
How
Good.
old are you?
I'm 12.
Very nice.
So you're in sixth, seventh?
6th.
Yeah.
6th grade.
So how long have you been in Boy Scouts then?
A little more than a year.
Yeah,
now.
that's what I thought.
I started like right before 5th grade started.
Okay,
Good for you.
good. So how many merit badges do you have?
I don't know the exact number. I think I have like, I don't know, like 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
Something around there.
How many do you need to be Eagle?
Well, to be Eagle Scout, there's 13 ones that you have to have. And then there's like, what was it? But you have to have 22 total merit badges to get Eagle.
Yeah, that's what I
And then
thought.
there's many other requirements too that you have to have.
Yeah, service project in there someplace for Eagle. Yeah,
Eagle Project.
yep.
And
Good.
then also like service hours, campouts, stuff like that.
Good.
So are you just here tonight to observe and listen? And, okay, wonderful.
Thanks for
All right,
coming.
well,
That's
thank you
great.
for coming.
I don't know if
Thank you for
anybody else
coming.
have any questions for him?
well, no, are you going to be participating in the Merit Badge College that the Rotary puts on here coming up in February? You know about that?
I was not aware that there was one.
Yes, so we've still got room. I want to make sure I give you the right date. And you can see me afterwards, but I just want to make, sorry about that. I'm getting to the calendar a little easier here. It's the first weekend of February and there's a Merit Badge College on Saturday. It's February 3rd. So you might ask your troop leader. It's here in Smithville at the Smithville Middle School. We host anywhere between 150 and 200 scouts. We do it once a year.
We
So-
can write it down for him.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, we'll write it down for you.
That's not,
I think I'm actually going to a different college that same day.
Okay, that's good. All right. Good
Good.
for you.
It's good that you know that.
Good.
It was like a 2-part thing. We did like half of it this weekend, and then we're gonna do the other half that weekend.
That's
okay.
great. Yeah.
Stay with it. The hard part is getting from first class to star. Once you make star, you can make Eagle. So just
Got it.
just
Yeah.
stay with it.
I think I just need a couple more things.
Yeah, good for
Awesome,
you.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
And come back.
Nice job.
Yeah.
He's precious. Okay, well, I don't think we have any more new business. We can make a motion to adjourn. Oh, go ahead, John. Sorry.
Sorry, I would like to, I believe that the EDC could be even more effective if we had some clear and concise goals and objectives of things that, just for example, this town needs a new hotel, correct? I would like to have everyone be on the same page. What type of a hotel are we looking for? Are we looking for something with a convention center? Are we looking for something, 100 room, 80 room, 150 room? And once that's just one item out of multiple that we need. But once we determine we need this specific type of a hotel, I know who to contact. What type of a restaurant, what type of, we can divide and conquer. I just would like to have more of an impact on what's going on with the city. And I don't know what everyone else is working on or if they're working on anything. I make phone calls to different individuals trying to get them to come here, but I think if we all had a clear goal or objective of we want this business, or this type of business, it would be easier for us to at least approach these businesses and try and get them to come here.
I agree. So, well, first off, the hotels have been kind of Steve's baby too. We've talked about it a couple different times, but then also I think mainly we look at the comp plan for direction on what we're supposed to focus on. And just the different types of things that were outlined on that, such as new businesses. But I don't have a problem with sitting down and talking about what specifically we would want. I know there's something with our proximity to the airport and all of that that kind of hinders us. There is a site is it Zone Hotel south of Central Bank and south of Fairview Crossing?
I believe so.
I think it's already zoned hotel. So I don't know, honestly. It's just, we've talked about Cobblestone, yes, the hotel, it's like a boutique hotel, right? A mom and pop's boutique hotel. So Steve had talked to them. I think whatever everybody wants to contact, if you want to work with Steve and make that something that you guys look into as, a hotel, or I don't have any.
Is your question bigger than that, John? Bigger
Well,
than just the hotel?
It isn't necessarily specific to one business, but I think we all agree Smithville could use at least another hotel.
Yes.
What type are we looking for? Are we looking for something that, to your point, we have thousands of visitors that come to our city. Unfortunately, they don't stay. They come, they visit the lake, and they leave.
They may not even come to Smithville,
Um,
right? They may not really
They
even
may
come
go
through
directly to
Smithville.
the lake, put their boat
Right.
in the water, retrailer it and leave. And they may stay out somewhere else. I would just like to see, these are the types of things that would benefit this city. Let's go get them.
What kind of data do we have that can guide that type of conversation?
So I don't think we have anything like specifically of, Smithville residents want X, Y, Z. But kind of with the conversation that Jack had about the South Overlay District, the city looks to the EDC to help guide those decisions. So that is your role in the EDC, is to help us kind of determine what the public wants. And there's also a lot of opportunities if we want to do any kind of public engagement. We can do that as well. but really just the guide from the comp plan of this is what the plan is for moving forward to 2030. But we don't really have anything set in stone for like specifics.
Could we set up a working group of some of us on EDC and Jack to kind of go through the comp plan? And kind of pick out some things that from there that we put a list together and then start putting some parameters around it?
It'd have to be a limited group so that we wouldn't have a quorum.
Uh-huh.
And then, I mean, we kind of already
I was
did
thinking
that with
about-
it
I
a
would say
few
to make
weeks
sure we did
ago.
that
We
through
kind of
it.
go.
I was thinking about
Already
John and
gone.
I actually, so.
And we have to use the land use map because like,
Yeah.
even if we did want a
Land use.
convention center, we have to make sure we have the acreage zoned for something that big. So it's like, I think if you go to the Smithville GIS map, pull up the overlays, that could help with looking at like what size of something. Because if it's like the industrial, our industrial zone is small. So you're not gonna get any like big, huge industrial plants. Like it's mostly gonna be like warehousing and small
Distribution.
fabrication, maybe that type of stuff. So I think it's up, and then if we, and things can change, like if you did meet someone who does have a convention center, that's when we would probably go to Jack and be like, hey, maybe it's time we look at the zoning because we have an opportunity here for someone to come in, but this doesn't allow that, and maybe we can extend the overlay, like
I think
those
it's kind
types
of
of
the,
things.
which comes first? Do you have the zoning for it or do you have businesses that want to come and you set up the zoning, right?
I think it goes both
Well, and
ways.
that's part of the development process. So, say there's an interested developer, but it's not zoned for that. That's when they would go to planning and zoning to make the request, which then would ultimately go to the Board of Aldermen. The EDC wouldn't specifically be focusing on the zoning, but
No,
it would
I-
help to say, hey, this is what we have available. This is
Yep.
what it's currently zoned for based on our current zoning.
The one hotel I talked to actually liked the location of Smithville because it's near urban, but it's not urban. They
I-
tend to be smaller towns.
Mhm.
You know, I talked to the folks out at, and I always put a name in there I shouldn't, White Iron.
White Iron Ridge. Yep.
Talked to them, they were interested, Herzog was interested. They've put in some dormitories. I don't know how much, you know, their capacity is or the usage is. But there was enough between White Iron Ridge and Herzog before the dormitories to put up about, it would equal about 25% of the capacity of a 90 to 100 room hotel. And so I think that we don't need anything fancy or big, you know, we're talking about a hotel that accommodates travelers and events and heavy usage on weekends and so.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, as opposed to, Adam mentioned the convention center. I don't think we need a hotel with a big, like the Holiday Inn up at the airport. We don't need a big convention center like that. We need something that has some facilities for some meetings. It would be nice to have a hotel that had some meeting rooms and could,
Mid-tier holiday
And I'm gonna put a
express.
pin in this since, for a future discussion, since it's not on our agenda for tonight. This would be a good next agenda topic to kind of dive more into hotels specifically, restaurants, kind of more of a large scale, and then we can figure out everyone's opinions on what kind of, way we need to go forward with it.
And I think if we get our data of where people are spending money out of town, it also could help us hone in. Are we losing a lot of money by not having a pharmacy here or a nutritional vitamin store or other things that would get some foot traffic around here? I mean, I have a list from various websites of what other cities have that we're missing, other small cities. And I think we kind of need to look at all of that as a starting point. But I think the data might be a good help too for us to say, especially if you're trying to romance CVS and Walgreens, and we know they're not expanding their footprint now, but if we have the facts that we are losing out on X dollars every year of people of going to Walgreens or CVS within a 25-mile radius of us, you've got that information too to get back out there when you are cultivating them, as we keep following up with phone calls throughout the year and touching base with people that say no. that we can say, well, our stats show that your area's this, and we could bring it even more if we had it closer to home for these people.
Yep, so I can plan to bring that replica data at our next meeting so we can continue the discussion with that as well.
Any other new business?
I'm sure I could think of something.
Well, you can always email us within a week before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Okay,
Thanks,
You-
Dan.
does anyone have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.